Next on Worcester News tonight, protecting police K-9s. A proposed bill would allow for medical transport of an injured K-9 officer. Plus, local organizations are calling on legislators to intervene when it comes to pesticides harming bees. They say it's a threat to the pollinators' health. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemmon. Cooler temperatures across central Massachusetts today, but now we're gearing up for dangerous heat this weekend. Temperatures will feel like it's above 100 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Hot temperatures combined with humidity will make it dangerous to be outside for a long time. Let's get a first look at our local forecasts for more.
Hey there, good evening to you. Hopefully you enjoyed the cool day today because we crank up the heat as soon as tomorrow. The heat slowly rebuilds in the afternoon, and then dangerous heat this weekend. Heat index values around 105 degrees, so plan to find relief now if you don't have air conditioning at home. This evening, we stay pleasant, comfortable in the 60s, and slightly lower dew point temperatures too, make it more comfortable as well. Mostly cloudy, not quite as muggy, milder by 11 o'clock, falling back down to 63 degrees, and that's pretty much going to be our overnight low. 63 degrees in Fitchburg as well, and the wind very subtle from the north. Wind direction really changes as we get into tomorrow's forecast, and it's more from the south-southwest. That's going to help to elevate our temperatures to right around 90 degrees across Worcester County, and this is where we have the dangerous start to the heat. But by Saturday, we may be talking record high temperatures in the afternoon. The record high in Worcester, 95 degrees, set in 1991. We're going with a forecast high of 95. In Boston, by the way, 99, also set in 91. Forecast high there, 99 degrees. Coming up, the last time we hit 100 in Worcester, it's been a while. Plus, how long this heat wave will last.
All right, thank you, Pamela. At the State House today, lawmakers hearing a bill allowing police K-9s injured in the line of duty to be treated and transported by EMS. It's called Nero's Bill, inspired by the K-9 partner of Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon. Worcester Police say it's a bill they support. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us live now to explain. Roslyn.
Olivia, right now, if a K-9 gets hurt, an officer has to transport them in the back of their police cruiser. One Worcester Police K-9 officer says the back of an ambulance would be much safer and says it's about time the law is changed. Worcester Police Officer Daniel Pelletore says K-9 Beeves is usually the first one going into a dangerous situation while on the job, and says Beeves getting hurt is something he thinks about.
Something we hope never happens.
At the State House Thursday, the parents of Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon begged for change of what they call an outdated law. Sergeant Gannon's K-9 Nero had to wait hours for emergency care after being wounded during the shooting, killing his partner. Nero's bill would allow emergency personnel to treat and transport police K-9s.
I know that Sean would have known that his K-9 was suffering for 3 hours because of an outdated law. That's just wrong. It's wrong, and we can fix it.
Officer Pelletore says it's much easier and safer to transport a K-9 in an ambulance than the back of a police cruiser.
The back of an ambulance is like a mini hospital. It has everything that we may need in order to, stabilize the dog.
Officer Pelletore agrees it's about time something is done to make sure the officers on 4 legs are protected.
It is good to see that, Massachusetts is going ahead, taking care of it, doing what needs to be done. Unfortunately, it was, that happened that took it to come forth.
Sergeant Gannon's family was joined by other K-9 officers at the State House. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A bizarre discovery made by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents. An officer with the Worcester office intercepted a package with more than 100 counterfeit Super Bowl championship and World Series rings. They were found in a shipment from China. All 101 rings will be destroyed. Right now, it's unclear who the rings were addressed to or whether they will face any charges. The House voting to gradually raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025. The Raise the Wage Act calls for a gradual increase to be phased in over several years. The federal minimum wage has not been raised since 2009. The bill, however, is unlikely to pass the Republican-dominated Senate. GOP leaders have branded the measure as a jobs killer and claimed it would be devastating to working families. A local family knows all too well the importance of AEDs. They lost 2 of their sons to cardiac arrests. Now, local leaders are also partnering to make sure others know how to use an automatic external defibrillator. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us live now with more. Brittany.
Olivia, the city is partnering with UMass Memorial Medical Center to teach officials and residents CPR and how to use AEDs like this one. They say it's so important and it could save a life.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
Knowing how to use an automatic external defibrillator can be the difference between life and death.
It's the most common cause of death in the United States outside the hospital, and only 8% survive nationally. But in places where people do CPR right away and where defibrillators are brought as quickly as possible and EMS responds quickly, those places can have 40% or 60% survival.
It's why UMass Memorial Medical Center is teaming up with the city for Take Heart Worcester.
That is the key thing if we're going to change and increase the survival of the people in the city. It's that we need to be able to teach people CPR, and they need to be able to use a defibrillator when one's available.
John Elsesser knows the importance of AEDs firsthand. He lost his sons Mike and Tim to cardiac arrest in 2010 and 2015 when AEDs were not near.
We caught a pass, picked up the first down, got hit, and sadly went into cardiac arrest. But with no AED at the field, no ambulance at the field, Mike passed on the field that day. And sadly, tragedy struck us again with my youngest son, Tim, while boating, swimming, and diving off the boat with his older brother, Pat. Had a cardiac event, and they rushed him to the hospital in Webster, and he was pronounced dead too.
Elsesser says he is proud the city is stepping up to get more people trained and aware of life-saving knowledge.
I'm thrilled. I was born and raised in Worcester up on Beverly Road, and to see my hometown step up and take a leadership role and be active in CPR training, AED knowledge, it's fantastic.
And training in Worcester begins Monday with dozens of city employees. Live in Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A Connecticut man is facing serious charges after allegedly kidnapping and sexually assaulting a minor in Webster. People who live in town say they are thankful for the police department's hard work to find the man. Some parents say they were afraid to send their kids out alone until the suspect was found. Police say 35-year-old Joshua B. Saw allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted a 12-year-old girl in May.
Hopefully nobody else will come around. You know, it's a lot easier to feel better that, you know, your kids are safe. I just recommend that any kid that travels doesn't travel alone, you know, and make sure your surroundings.
An investigation by Webster Police, Connecticut Police, and the FBI led them to Besaw's home where he was arrested. And authorities are thanking the public for their role in the case. Our Cam Jandro has the details on the investigation.
35-year-old Joshua Besaw was taken into custody after allegedly luring a 12-year-old girl into his car and sexually assaulting her back in May.
So the victim went to the May Street Park here in Webster to meet a friend. The friend couldn't make it. Mr. Besaw saw her, enticed her into the car under the false pretenses of some story that he needed some assistance.
Besaw was arrested Wednesday at his Thompson, Connecticut home. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Connecticut, Besaw identified himself as Chuck and drove the girl into an isolated wooded area just over the Massachusetts-Connecticut border. Following the alleged assault, Besaw then brought the 12-year-old back into Massachusetts and left her in an unfamiliar neighborhood.
He dropped her off over in Dudley, which is the town next door, and she was fortunately to come across somebody that was able to help her contact her mother.
Webster Police Chief Michael Shaw says surveillance footage from nearby homes led them to Besaw. The FBI then followed the suspect on multiple occasions. They found DNA from a cigarette, which matched the DNA evidence collected from the victim.
This was a case of good old-fashioned police work and technology mixing. They did a phenomenal job of identifying who Mr. Besaw was.
Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
A merger with Illinois-based company Grassroots makes Curaleaf the world's biggest marijuana seller. The Wakefield-based marijuana company Curaleaf says it signed an agreement to acquire Grassroots. Curaleaf has a medical marijuana dispensary in Oxford. In a statement, Curaleaf CEO says in part, this transaction significantly accelerates our expansion strategy and strengthens our reach across the medical and adult use markets. Curaleaf already operates in 12 states, and the expansion will give it operations in 19 states. Local organizations are working together to help save the bee population. Recently, the U.S. EPA announced it's allowing a bee-killing pesticide back on the market. Beekeepers en masse are asking legislators to step in. Our Gretchen LaRosa joins us live now to explain. Gretchen.
Olivia, bees are on the decline, and a local beekeeper says pesticides are to blame.
There's no question it is a crisis.
Beekeepers in the U.S., like Dick Callahan, have noticed a 50% mortality rate in bees over the last year.
Without bees, you've about a third of what you see on your plate, especially your fruit plate. You're not going to have them. They're just not there at a commercial level.
Callahan is working with legislators to restrict harmful misused pesticides through a bill. He says pesticides are harmful and can kill bees.
Representative Dykeman's bill really just addresses the overuse of these pesticides by homeowners who really aren't trained to use them at all.
Wednesday, Environment Massachusetts announced 20,000 state residents signed a petition in support of the bill. He says pesticides cause more damage than just killing insects.
These pesticides are also water soluble, so they go, when you put them on your lawn or in your garden, they move through the soil and they go into trees and other places, and they're in residues that not where you intended them to go.
He says under the new bill, only licensed professionals will be able to use these pesticides without restrictions.
But what it would do is keep people that are treating their lawns with this and their yards extensively from being able to use it directly.
Now, the bill was filed in January but has not yet been scheduled a hearing. Callahan says the bill has 90% of support from legislators, and he believes it will pass. Live in Worcester, Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
A nearly century-old building in downtown Worcester is nominated by the State Historical Commission to the National Register of Historic Places. Worcester's Duprey building on Norwich Street was recently rehabilitated and converted into apartments. The National Register will consider final designation of the former commercial and office building. It was built in 1926 by a local real estate developer, Philip Duprey.